Good evening. Tonight's screencast is going to focus on the creation of your portfolio. Thank you to those of you who made it tonight in the rainy weather, and hopefully this can be helpful to those of you who couldn't make it. So if you come to our website on Canvas and you scroll to the very bottom, you're going to see a module or a module that's open now called Leading Edge Portfolio. If you click on the first link, it's going to take you to this tab. To this tab, I want you to make sure that you read through it very carefully and make sure that you follow all of the instructions. To create your portfolio, you're going to click on this link that says Common Template. This will open up a Google Sites template. When you click on it, it will take you here. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll be asked to use Template. You want to make sure that you're logged into your Google account, and when I click on it, because I'm already logged into my Google account, it takes me immediately to this page. Now you may have to sign in first, but either way you get to it, just keep going back to that Use Template so that ultimately you're here at this site. You'll see in red it has LEC OT 2.0 Portfolio. Keep that as it is. Then you're going to name your site. I suggest that you name it as per your actual name, and then follow it with OBT, Online Blended Teacher. Then you're going to scroll down and you should see a CAPTCHA there. Go ahead and enter that if you can actually read it, and then click Create. It will create your site. Oh, it says it's not available because apparently I've done it too recently. I'm going to hit 2 on there and just add another number and create the site. Once the site is created, then I'm going to walk you through briefly how to edit a Google Sites page. So here's my site. Now this is my personal site. Now in the future, if I want to access this site, I can either save this URL at the top, or in the future, if I want to go directly here, I can go to sites.google.com, and it will give me a list of any Google site that I've created at any point. If you've never created any Google Sites, then you will only see the site that you have created for this course. So here you see Elizabeth Calhoun, OBT, shared with everyone in the world, and I see that the URL there has the number 2 after it, just like the one that I just created. So here's this site, and I can tell that I'm in editing mode because I have these buttons in the upper right hand corner. If at some point you come directly to this site and you haven't signed in, at the very bottom there'll be a little link that says sign in, and you can click on that to get this editing toolbar on the upper right hand corner. So on this home page, this is where, and each of these pages give you instructions on what to do with each of the pages. It's kind of handy that way. So here it tells you that the home page is an introduction to the reader, and you can use the space to identify the purpose of the portfolio, the audience, and the contents. Make sure to add photos and other elements that introduce you to the reader. In order to edit the page, you click on this little pencil link where it says Edit Page, and it comes up like a word processing editor. You can change any of the text as you so choose, but the most important piece for you is going to be becoming very familiar and comfortable with Insert, this Insert menu, because here's where you will insert an image, a link, any documents you have. So if as you've gone along you've created documents or you've created your reflections in Google Docs, this is going to be really helpful for you because you could easily come to Insert, Drive, Document, find the document from your drive, and then go ahead and select it, and it will automatically be embedded. I'd like to encourage you to embed as much as possible. In terms of website design 101, you want to make sure that you provide as few links to outside pieces as possible, because the readers of your portfolio don't want to have to go to 12 different places to see this one comprehensive, wonderful bucket of stuff that you've created. They want to be able to see it all in one shot, if at all possible and where possible. So make sure, unlike with Google Docs, it doesn't automatically save, so you do want to make sure that you click Save when you're done with editing a particular page. On the left hand side, you have the next link is your resume or Vita and Bio if you so choose. You don't have to include it if you don't want to, but if you choose not to include it, you should make sure that you come here and click on delete page. You're just deleting that particular page within your overall site. So make sure that you delete the page if you don't include it. It's sort of bad form if you have a link to something on the left-hand side that says optional and then you don't include it. So just make sure you clean that up at the end. With the rest of the items, they're all linked to the particular modules that we worked within. So for instance, here's where you're going to embed your online versus blended versus face-to-face Venn diagram. If I click on link or the edit tool, you would take this out, you would insert either the image itself, or if you created a Google drawing, you would insert and embed that directly there. This is where it becomes really important that all of your items were made public, because this is going on a public website that I then am going to share with other people for the reading and certification process. And then after the reflection, you're either going to copy and paste or directly embed your reflection into this space. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel there. And similarly for all of these different elements, when you created a collaborative presentation of Web 2.0 tools, you are going to take that presentation and insert it directly into this space and all of these others. Now, there was a great question asked tonight that I want to make sure is really clear for the, I believe it was the fifth. It was for establishing an accessible social presence for the fifth module. Two things I want to point out. You can embed your YouTube video by going to Insert YouTube, and then it'll ask you for the URL, so that's pretty simple and straightforward. In addition to that, you weren't asked explicitly to write a reflection for Module 5. Nevertheless, the readers of the portfolio and for certification purposes, we still expect you to have reflected upon your learning from that module. As such, you want to write probably a 3 to 6 sentence honest, genuine reflection about what you took away from that particular module and how it might change your thinking in the future. So please make sure that you address that piece. It's the one piece that you actually have to create fresh rather than pulling from the work that you've been doing all along. So with that, I'm going to go back to this particular page, which shows the description for your leading edge portfolio. A couple things that I want to point out. The first is we have 4 sample portfolios that you are welcome to look at. The portfolio itself, if you would like to change the look and feel, that's perfectly acceptable. The only thing that we ask, so you'll see here that it's not all white and stark. He added some colors, used a theme from Google Sites. The one thing that we do ask is that you do keep the logo in the upper left-hand corner. Sometimes people like to change the tabs from this side sitemap to tabs along the top. Feel free to do that as long as all of the content stays and we still have the logo in the upper left-hand corner. So you can look at any of these, of course. The way that the certification process works is as follows. You will finish all of your assignments to passing score, and I'm sort of the first vetter of that, if you will. So as you've gone through each of the assignments, I've looked at them, I've given you feedback if you've needed to change anything. So what we'll do as a next step is I really need you to make sure that you get your portfolios in by April 6th. And if there's anything left over that you still have to complete, the earlier you get that in at this point, the better, because the sooner I can give you feedback on it, the sooner you can make those changes, and that you can be sure in going into your portfolio that what you're putting in your portfolio doesn't have to be adjusted. Once your portfolio link is submitted, I take that link and I put it into a shared spreadsheet with 2 other readers who are also online and blended teacher professional developers. They don't know you, they don't know you from anybody else, and all of the feedback that I give you is with that lens in mind. They don't know you and love you like I do. And so what will happen is that I will read through all of the portfolios. I will check it against this rubric down at the bottom. And so this rubric really is a little more intense than previous rubrics because it does address design and mechanics and making sure, don't use hot pink background with bright yellow font. Okay, those kinds of things. Make sure that it's easy to read and that it's professional. And so once that link comes to me and I put it in the shared Google spreadsheet, I read through it, and as I read through them, I sort of give them I give them a passing score. And once I've read through them, they go to the second reader, and they get read through. And if any of those get kicked back to me, I then have to come back to you. So that's why I'm trying to be, sort of hard on you now, so that when it gets to the second and third reader, it's essentially a rubber stamping process. That's what we want it to be, right? So so I will read through them. The other two readers will read through them, and once that third reader comes around and says, okay, yes, these are all good to go, then the next step that I take is I take that spreadsheet and I send it to our program manager for leading edge certification. From that point, it takes anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks for you to ultimately get an email. And attached to that email will be your certificate, which you can print up and you can laminate, you can frame, you can do with it whatever you want to. And congratulations and a confirmation and some next steps in terms of if you want to connect with other leading edge certified educators. In addition to that, if you requested any credits through University of Pacific, it is at that point, once the certification is complete, that I will send that information into University of Pacific. The same day that I send the spreadsheet to our program manager is the same day that I send the checks and the information over to University of Pacific. Usually within a week, I get a confirmation back from University of Pacific with information about how you can order your official transcripts from them and at what point those would be available. When I get that information back from UOP, I will pass that along to you if you have chosen to purchase units. So with that, make sure that you get all of your work completed that needs completion. If you have any questions, please ask me as soon as you have a question. Please make sure you get your portfolio and all of that in on time. We have other cohorts that begin on April 15th, so I'm looking at having a pretty tight turnaround on the portfolios and everything else. So good news. And but that, of course, is contingent upon making sure that I have your materials in as soon as possible. And then with that, I think that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And thank you so much for everything, all of your discussions, all of your insights. Good luck in these last couple weeks, and I'm still here for you. So if you have any questions, let me know. And thanks so much. Have a great week. Take care.